Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video review. And for this one, I want to take a look at the brand new 3D Donkey Kong game, Donkey Kong Bananza, for the Nintendo Switch 2. This came out around near the Switch 2's lineup, though. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link down in the description down below, or you can click on the card that will appear up on this video, assuming you're watching this either on YouTube or Patreon. And for parents out there, it's worth pointing out that Donkey Kong Bananza is rated E10 plus, ages 10 and up, by the ESRB rating system, and timestamps will be in the description of this video if there are certain parts of this video you wish to skip to and all. Donkey Kong has sort of an interesting history, to be exact. Originally, he was sort of Mario's enemy and all when the original Donkey Kong arcade game came out back in the 80s. At the time, Mario was called the Carpenter or Jumper Man and everything like that. But over the years, we've seen Donkey Kong kind of go somewhat of a different direction. While there's times when he is still like an enemy or frenemy to Mario and everything like that, he's also has seen his own games and everything, starting off with 1994's Donkey Kong Country, released on the Super Nintendo, which was a very impressive game in its own right, outside of being like a 2D platform. The visuals were very interesting, even for a Super Nintendo game back then. This will follow up with basically Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest, and Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. But his Donkey Kong's true jump into 3D would come from Rare, known as Donkey Kong 64, released in 1999 for the Nintendo 64. And the game certainly had gotten a mixed response. While there are some folks who liked the game, others weren't thrilled. Some of them point to like the backtracking and everything like that. So there were some who liked it and some who didn't. But whatever the case may be, Nintendo really didn't do another 3D Donkey Kong game since then. I mean, yes, we've had like several like 2D Donkey Kong games, like the Donkey Kong Country games get ported over to the Game Boy Advance, to basically Aulx Studio doing two 2D Donkey Kong games by the name of Donkey Kong Country Returns and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. But as far as a true 3D Donkey Kong game, I mean, you really didn't see anything out that sort of like that, unless you want to count Donkey Kong Congo or Donkey Kong Rumble. I think it was called Rumble Racing. It used the bongos or something like that, though. So it was sort of interesting when rumors started to pop up that supposedly some of the folks, or the same folks who did the launch title for the Switch 1, Mario Odyssey, back in 2017, there were rumors that they may be working on a Donkey Kong game here and there. And the rumor and official confirmation didn't come until basically April 9th, 2025, when Nintendo held a direct for their upcoming Switch successor, Switch 2, and we actually saw footage of this brand new Donkey Kong game that they were working on. And I was very pleased to see this happening, because it was long overdue for Donkey Kong to get a 3D outing, especially after all these years and all. And finally, the game came out, and after spending some time with it, I definitely not only enjoy this game, but I also feel like the game does improve certain areas that started with some of the stuff that was in Mario Odyssey in a way, and that is kind of interesting indeed. And I am hoping that this opens the door to more 3D Donkey Kong games down the road and all. So I'm going to break it down into the pros and the cons. So we'll start off first with the pros, and I will say on the pro side, visually though, the game looks really good and everything like that. I mean, Nintendo has been known to do some art styles for their games here and there. To be exact, whether going back to sort of games like, say, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island for the Super Nintendo, to even, like Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii, on the Wii, especially with the sequel, Mario Galaxy 2. It's still, they do a good job in terms of the visuals and the art design, and this one just continues with that as well. And it certainly looks really nice, especially with some of the levels and all. And also the music is really good in this game, though. Obviously, it's nowhere near the scale as what David Wise did when he was at Rare and he did some of the Donkey Kong Country games, and even doing Tropical Freeze as well. it still holds up. And also there are some music that is a throwback to the original Donkey Kong you do hear in this game as well. So that certainly is nice indeed. So visually speaking, the game looks good for a Switch 2 title, especially during the launch period, and the music as well. The next thing I do want to talk about is the gameplay, and for the most part the gameplay is basically Donkey Kong, you know, going through like a destructive environment. He could like punch and dig his way through a lot of the levels, even climbing up to a lot of the areas though. So he has in some ways somewhat of a vast open world, to be exact, to explore, especially since he's going to the center of the planet and visiting each of the core of the levels and everything. And so to me, I feel like the gameplay feels like a combination of several games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey, and maybe other 3D Mario games, to even old third-party games like Hulk Ultimate Destruction and Red Faction and all. And you kind of get that get that vibe to it when you're playing Donkey Kong Bonanza and all. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I like that there is some changes to the gameplay that's a little bit different than what you would see in a traditional like 3D Mario game, indeed. So certainly nice and everything like that. So definitely the gameplay feels like a combination of several other games that have come out in the past, and I certainly do not feel that is necessarily a bad thing. The next thing I do want to talk about is the frame rate, and so far, based on my time with the game, at least at the moment though, the game seems to run very well at a 60 frames per second though, which is certainly not bad indeed. There has been some reports saying that there may have been some slowdown here and there. I've yet to see it at this time based on my time with the game though, but in either case though, I will say that it seems to run well at 60 frames per second. I certainly do not think that's necessarily a bad thing. And last but not least, I will say that while I do enjoy the gameplay for this game though, I do feel like this game does improve on some of the stuff that was started or was in Mario Odyssey though. Some good examples is the banana gems though. They have more of a value than what you saw in Mario Odyssey with like the moons or sunshine with the sun shines, or like Mario 64 or Galaxy 1 and 2 with the stars, where here, while those help you advance to the next level, the gems on the other hand act more like you get like a skill point, and you basically can use those to power up like Donkey Kong, make him like have more energy, have like, you know, be able to do like a certain move, like slide with like basically one of the grounds he picks up and everything lasts a bit longer, to even when he gets some of the animals basically power ups, you know, like the elephant, like a big gorilla, ostrich, snake, zebra, those which each have their own unique abilities and everything. Basically you can also increase their powers or increase the length of how long you can have them. Sometimes they may take more than like, some may take one skill point, other times they could take 2, 3, or 4, so you may have to find more of these banana gems out there, but they certainly do serve a better purpose than what the moons and the stars do. To even some of the costumes as well, they have a better purpose, where in Mario Odyssey, outside of maybe using them for maybe like get like one of the moons or something like that, they're just simply for cosmetics, where here they sort of act more like a little bit of a buff, or could add certain things like increase the sonar, where Donkey Kong slaps the ground to basically find hidden items, to basically maybe, you know, withstanding certain hits and everything like that. So to me, the costumes serve more of a purpose than what was in Mario Odyssey and all. And of course, also Donkey Kong can climb up areas without having to worry about stamina meter the way you saw that in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But in either case though, I do think that it does improve in certain areas that was started in Mario Odyssey to some extent, and I think they kind of expand upon that. And it'll be interesting to see the next 3D Mario game if they take certain elements of Bananza and apply that to the next 3D Mario game and all. As far as the cons go, I would say the only con that I could think of, at least based on my time with Donkey Kong Bonanza, has to be the fact that the camera controls can be tricky at times though. While I won't go as far as saying the camera is broken or anything like that, it works. There are times when the camera can go into that one angle you don't want it to be in, and it can make things, excuse me, things a little bit awkward. What makes it even more awkward is when you're doing the digging, and you know your Donkey Kong's like digging through the level. Sometimes the camera could get into like that one angle you don't want it to be in as well, and that can also make finding items and everything, especially if you're looking for those banana gems, can be a bit tricky every now and then. Plus, also digging in also kind of shows some of the limitations with the visuals and everything like that. So, but in either case, I do feel like the camera controls, at least in Donkey Kong Bonanza, sometimes can be tricky at times. Again, I don't think it makes the game unplayable, but I certainly have noticed that based on my time with Donkey Kong Bonanza and all. Overall, I came away very pleased with Donkey Kong Bonanza. As someone who enjoys platforming games, whether it's 2D or 3D, I definitely feel this is a very good launch title to have around during the Switch 2's launch though, and it's nice to see that Donkey Kong is finally getting another 3D outing, to be exact. At its best, the visuals of the game look good along with the music. I like the gameplay, how it's a feel of a combination of several games that I mentioned in this video though. Frame rate seems to be running well based on my time with the game. And I do like the fact that this game does improve in some aspects for what you saw in Mario Odyssey. They kind of improved upon it in Donkey Kong Bonanza, such as from the banana gems to some of the costumes, which is certainly a good thing indeed. But at its worst though, at the same time, I did feel like the camera controls can be somewhat tricky. Like I said, not bad, but there are times when it can be a little difficult when you have it in an angle you don't want to be in, especially when you're digging through the level, which is what Donkey Kong does in this game and all. But in either case, I still came away very pleased with this title. Nevertheless, though, it is definitely a recommendation, especially if you're into platforming games, whether it's 2D or 3D platforming games. I do hope that I do hope the game does well though, but I do hope it opens the door to the possibility of doing maybe, you know, a 2D and a 3D Donkey Kong game, just like what we've been seeing with Mario before in the past, where we had a 3D Mario and a 2D Mario. I hope we see that kind of trend with the Donkey Kong though, considering we're now seeing push for that character more, ranging from the rides at Universal Studios to rumors of a Donkey Kong movie being in the works though. And who knows, maybe this can open the door to Donkey Kong premiering in other genres to be exact. I know this may sound like an odd thing to say, but I wouldn't be against the idea if they did like a Donkey Kong RPG. As weird as that may sound, we had the Mario RPGs, and the first one started with Super Mario RPG Legends of the Seven Stars, so I do think it's possible if done correctly and all. And I do hope that this also opens the door to seeing other characters get another shot, maybe add another outing on the Switch 2. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing a new, like, say, Golden Sun game, though. Or, better yet, maybe, you know, give Kid Icarus another try, whether it's a 2D or 3D outing, or a remake or remaster of Kid Icarus Uprising, or even Star Fox for that matter. I do think Star Fox deserves another shot and all. But in either case, I came back, enjoyed Donkey Kong Bonanza, and fans of 3D platforms though should definitely give, and if you have a Switch 2 though, give Donkey Kong Bonanza a try and all. Okay, this concludes my video review of Donkey Kong Bonanza, and again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Donkey Kong Bonanza though? Are you glad that Nintendo finally did a brand new 3D Donkey Kong Bonanza game? Are there certain parts of the game that you like? Are there certain parts of the game that you didn't like at all? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. The links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube or Patreon. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!